Hi. So the astrology of April is quite intense. Um, it starts out pretty good. We have a lovely new moon. No, I'm sorry, full moon in Libra on the first and some places the second of April, and um, that is quite lovely. But then little by little, as we head towards the middle of the month, um, probably around the 10th of April or so, that is when Mars moves to the sign of Aries. And just about all the planets are in Aries, except Venus and Jupiter. Um, and once Mars um, what we typically see is that once Mars enters into the mix of planets, planets that are kind of clustered in one sign, and then once Mars arrives there, now especially when it's in Aries, which is Mars's own home sign, that's when things really get going. Mars really activates everything. So, frankly, it looks very intense, the middle of the month. So I would say from April 10th to the 20th, 21st. Um, mhm, that's all quite intense. Um, but as I said, the beginning of the month looks pretty good um, with the Libra new moon. Um, but I would say take advantage of the the beginning of the month and leave yourself a lot of time for the middle of in the middle of the month so that you can deal with any interruptions to the regularly scheduled programming because there will be interruptions. Um, uh, no doubt about it. Now, it obviously depends on each person's personal chart, but I would say that these are probably, I mean, it is unlikely that anybody is, there's hardly anybody who's unaffected by these changes. I mean, on a personal and societal level, it looks quite intense. Now, the good thing is that both Jupiter and Venus at the same time, so the two benefic planets are in very good signs. Venus is in Taurus, and that's her sign, so she loves it, loves being there. And Jupiter is in Cancer, in his exaltation, so they are both in excellent condition. So there are something, it's like even when if things look very intense, it's like there's some kind of thing, um, saved by the bell or something like that. There's something really good about. There's the other side of the coin. It's almost like as good as it gets, as bad as it gets, it's also as good as it gets. So it's a very dramatic month. Okay, so let's start going through each sign. So this month I'm basically looking at Mars and Uranus because then we get at the end of the month on the 26th of April, we get Uranus entering um, the sign of Gemini, and he's going to stay in that sign for 7 years. Um, and So this is very significant month. And after that, after April, there's really no going back. Then all the outer planets have changed signs. So what's going on with Aries is that this is definitely a big month for Aries because all these, as you can see, all the planets are in your sign. And Mars is entering your sign on April 9th or 10th, depending on your location, and will bring, will ignite um, all the changes that you have possibly already experienced. But now comes the culmination. If they haven't been activated yet, they will be activated now. And then Uranus will enter your third house of, it's the house of communication. It's the house of um, the mind, your mind, siblings. So a very exciting house actually for any kind of starting a podcast or something to do with um, education um, or communicating in any way. But I think all the emphasis is going to stay. Is definitely in your sign and in your first house because it's the house of your identity and your body. So there's something here that is you get this surrender denial card. So there's definitely probably these changes have already started, and there's at this point there's no denying them. Um, so whatever changes have started at this point, you're going to have to face them. And Mars only wants us to face things. Mars brings us courage. And once you face them, um, they're probably not going to be as scary as you think they are. And um, also, you have this lovely support from Jupiter in your home, um, in your home house. Um, and so this support from your family or your home surroundings, um, is just lovely. So it's not like you're all alone. This is definitely whatever changes are going on. Jupiter is there to support you. Also, the advice is to remind you that nothing is yet set in stone. There's nothing here that is um, that is final. Basically, we're not going to know until maybe May, June, July, where the dust settles. So whatever changes you see happening right now that have to do with your identity or body or um, in some cases even health, um, not none of it is fine. None of it is final. So just keep calm and keep going, basically. This Uranus in the third house is quite exciting. Um, it should be pretty inspiring, best case scenario. Then Taurus. So Mars and Uranus. Mars enters your 12th house, and as it enters your 12th house, um, where all these planets are in Aries, it kind of brings out things that you didn't see before. So the 12th house is sometimes is the house of self-sabotage or things that were simply hidden from us. So there's something here that wants to, if you didn't know before, now you do. And there's a certain amount of frustration about it. As the card says, surrender frustration. Um, but it's a dramatic month, especially in the middle of the month. So the advice is to take time to breathe out. So just take a deep breath and um, remember that we don't know exactly how things end up. Only around May, um, at the end of May, things calm down, and that's when the dust settles for a little bit. So, whatever happens in April is not the final word on any of these matters. And you have lovely support from Venus and Jupiter. And Jupiter, especially the third house, is your mind, communication, things like that. And it's in the sign of Cancer in your case. And you have Jupiter there. So um, definitely um, maybe this month don't watch the news. Try to avoid the news because it is going to be an intense news month, especially in the middle of the month. And the beginning of the month is going to be a lot calmer. We have a lovely, um, the new moon in Libra is quite lovely on the 1st or 2nd of April. And after that, then things start to get a little bit more intense around 9th or 10th of April when Mars enters Aries. But again, and this is just stay calm and keep going kind of month. Okay, so Gemini, so this is definitely, excuse me, this is a big month for you. And it's no wonder that you have surrendered to your full power. As you're, you know, let go of any kind of hesitation is basically what this card is saying to you. Your life is calling to you to step into your full power rather than playing it small. And when you have Uranus entering your sign at the end of the month, that's certainly what's happening. Uranus will bring sudden changes, and at first they might be a little bit uncomfortable, but ultimately Uranus wants to inspire us and wake us from complacency. So I think this is a wonderful and exciting. Next 7 years is how long Uranus is going to stay in your sign. And it arrives with Venus. So there might be some sudden changes regarding money and relationships at the end of the month. But again, Uranus typically wants just to wake us up and wants good things for us. So I think it's mostly exciting. And you have Jupiter is in your money house. And I mean, everybody wants Jupiter in their money house. So you have it, you have your money house looks excellent, especially until the end of July, end of June, actually. And so you have lovely support. And then um, there might be some changes coming to your house of hopes and wishes. Maybe things that you thought before. Maybe you're changing your mind of the kind of groups, you know, the groups and friendships. Maybe they are changing, and maybe you're finding new friendships and new um, social circles. And there's definitely the advice is there's definitely this exciting, the energy is gaining momentum kind of vibe here. I mean, for the most part, I think this is it's a bit intense in the middle of the month, admittingly, but you have so much lovely support. You have Venus in your first sign, and you have Jupiter in your money house. So even though things are quite intense, um, you have tremendous support here as well. So I think it's mostly exciting for Geminis. So Cancer, um, so first of all, you still have Jupiter in your sign until the end of June. So take advantage of that because Jupiter won't be in your sign won't be back for another 12 years. So this is as good as it gets in terms of um, yeah, you know, the universe supporting you. Um, and um, at the same time, yes, things are going to get a bit intense in terms of your career house. And Mars entering there is igniting it. So there's something here about your visibility, your role in society that is changing. Um, so Mars coming to ignite all these planets is intense. There's no doubt about it. And I think this card, surrender to silence, is the best advice you can get because this is not the time to get upset. Certainly not show and talk back to people, to get into arguments with people, because um, that is the danger here, is that you get into arguments with people. And this is not the month to get into arguments, especially in the middle of the month. Basically, between April 10th and 20th, definitely just, you know, uh, walk away from arguments, surrender to silence rather than anything else. And you have Jupiter support in your sign. And then, but again, because Uranus is entering your 12th house, um, you know, it might bring something up from your subconscious or seeing things in a different way that you have never seen before. So there's Uranus is going to bring a new emphasis on spirituality and practicality. So what does it mean to be a spiritual person? Um, you know, if you've gone to retreats or meditated, done spiritual work, how can you bring that to your daily life is like one of the messages there. But Uranus is going to be in your 12th house for 7 years. So you have You have plenty of time to think about it. Overall, it's a pretty good month because you have that Jupiter support there, but it is easy to lose your temper this month because of these sudden changes. Something to do with your career, or your role in society, um, something about the way people see you. So now is not the time to get into arguments or comment about anything. Just wait until the dust settles in May and June. Okay, so Leo, um, this is um, it's an exciting, a very exciting month for you. Let's put it that way. Um, Now, first of all your Mars is arriving your ninth house of foreign travel, education, your life philosophy. So something there is really getting ignited. Um, I wouldn't recommend traveling at this time, though. It's, I mean, the the sign of Aries is so lit up this month that it's not exactly obviously what's going on in the world also. It's just not a good time, not a good time to travel. It is maybe a good time to think about maybe re-education, or going back to school or learning some new skill. That could be something that could be exciting for you. Um, and you have this lovely support from Venus in your house of hopes and dreams. And then on top of it, Uranus is going to arrive there at the end of the month, in your 11th house. And your worldview um, and your um, networks and friendships and networks are going to expand in a way that you never thought possible. So Uranus is going to stay in your 11th house for the next 7 years. So that's exciting, for sure. And you have also this lovely support from Jupiter in your 12th house. It is getting ready to um, eventually move to your first house, um, which in July, which is lovely, except that in July it's you're gonna have Jupiter is gonna be opposite Pluto, so that's intense in July, just to let you know. But after that, once Jupiter is done with Pluto, you should be able to feel that um, more support from Jupiter. So overall, even the cards are kind of just saying surrender to receiving support and love. Um, so yes, things have been a bit intense because of Jupiter because of Pluto. You're getting used to having hosting Pluto in your house of relationships. But this is a chance to go deep in relationship if that's what you want. Or a very intense person might arrive in your life. That's another, a person who completely changes um, uh, your world. Um, but even the advice card here is a win-win outcome. So overall, things are um, looking pretty good. Now it's going to get very intense in the middle of the month, um, from the 10th until the 20th of April. Um, Try not to get into arguments with people, and don't make any final decisions on things. But this is definitely an opportunity to open up to completely new friendships and networks once Uranus arrives in your 11th house at the end of the month. So Virgo, so you have so yes, it's going to get busy. At the end of the month, you will be receiving Uranus in your 10th house of career, visibility in, if you're retired, then it would be just your visibility in the world. For example, when we move, everybody can see that we move. Some kind of sudden changes are probably in store at the end of the month, or some kind of small changes may happen at first. Look for the symbolism of what shows itself at the end of the month, because that will give you the clue of how Uranus will um, unfold in your house of career for the next 7 years. And then your the Mars will arrive in your 8th house and ignite all these planets in your 8th house. The 8th house is the house of karmic debts, owed to us or we owe to other people. So money matters could, especially with other people, loans or spouses, finances, or other things that have to do with money with other people. Basically, it's the house of other people's money. So there's some kind of taxes are definitely in this house. So there's especially in the middle of the month, it's it's going to get intense, but you're going to just have to keep calm, and you have this lovely, lovely support from Jupiter in your 11th house of hopes and wishes and networks and friends. So family and friends should be providing a lot of comfort to you. And your card is to surrender to complete healing. So it, so at least you have Saturn and Neptune are now out of your relationship house. So now there's a big possibility that now you're dealing with money issues relating to that old relationship. Or maybe things are getting better with the old relationship, and now you have to deal with more practical matters like money. But I think that this Jupiter is providing, Jupiter is in such a lovely supporting house, and the best sign for Jupiter. So it's um, just rely on Jupiter. Have faith. Basically, have faith this month that things will work out, despite all the intensity. Maybe try to avoid the news this month, because it's going to get quite intense this month, especially in the middle of the month. And the advice card is there's probably still plenty of things that you need to release, especially the 8th house, because it's a house of karmic debt. So even though Neptune and Saturn have left your relationship house, it's not like you can forget everything all of a sudden at once. The pressure, that type of pressure is gone, but now there's a new type of, um, now you're sort of thinking it over, and there's still perhaps a lot of healing to do, like the cards show. But Jupiter is there to um, support you. So Jupiter is definitely the planet to lean on this month and until the end of June. So Libra. So definitely an intense month for Libra, no doubt. Um, we start out the 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 month of April with the lovely new moon in no, I'm sorry, full moon in Libra, April 1st or 2nd, depending on your location. And so the first few weeks, the first week is still relatively calm for Libras, but I gotta tell you, the middle of the month looks very intense for everybody, and especially your relationship house. Once Mars arrives there on April 9th or the 10th, up until the 20th, it is definitely time to surrender to your inner peace, like the card says here. Try not to be very too reactive, even though there is probably plenty to react to. Try to stay calm, and remember that you have this lovely support from Jupiter in your 10th house of career and visibility, as well um, as from Venus. Venus is going to be in your, first of all, it's going to be in your 8th house, and then it's going to move along with Uranus to your 9th house of life, philosophy, long distance travel, education. So very extremely auspicious placement for Uranus for the next 7 years. So I'm very excited for you that Uranus is in your 9th house, because this is definitely an inspiring place to study something new, to travel, to although this is not the month to travel. Traveling comes later. This is definitely not advisable to travel this month at all. But maybe at the end of May and beginning of June. Right now, I would not travel this month. But it's a great time. The next 7 years are going to be a great time for exploring things that are really inspiring for you, because Uranus here will bring you inspiration, and you're going to be studying things that you've always wanted to, or you thought you would never end up studying something or learning something new or be inspired by something completely different than you've ever thought. And luck is on your side this month. So I think this is if you can withstand the pressure and stay calm in your relationship house, Mars igniting everything there in the middle of the month, then I think otherwise things look very good for you. Okay, so Scorpio, you are advised to surrender to wonder and awe that you are. And I think this is definitely, you've gone through a lot. Pluto has entered into your home sign has been there since November, so you're probably used to that energy by now, but it's still an ongoing process to some extent. And looks like there are changes at work, especially in the middle of the month. It's possible also that this is a little bit of an accident-prone month. So um, I would be a little bit careful in the middle of the month once Mars enters Aries, which is your sixth house. So between April 10th and 20th, um, there's a lot going on once Aries arrives in Aries, where we have so many planets and it ignites all those issues. So careful not to get into, just don't do any kind of risky hobby or something like that. And then possibly it'll also work. Um, maybe there's some layoffs or something like that may happen, but I don't think it's going to concern you. It's again happening around you, not to you, but it is still going to affect your routine. It's going to affect how you conduct. You may have to take on more responsibility or something like that, because if they let somebody else go, now you have to do also their job. So there is there is a stressful aspect to it. But at the same time, you have Jupiter in your ninth house of life philosophy and education, um, bringing you inspiration and comfort. So, and also Venus is in your relationship house actually most of the month, until towards the end of the month. And Venus will bring you relationships should bring comfort this month, um, and which is lovely. And um, but then Uranus enters your eighth house of um, money, other people's money. So possibly partner's money or some sort of money to do with your partner, or loans or inheritances, things like that. So there might be some sudden changes coming. And even the advice card is adjustments are required. So it's probably not exactly comfortable on this Uranus in your eighth house at first, but it should definitely clarify things. And you still have that support from Jupiter until the end of June in your ninth house. So overall, I think this is a little bit stressful, but things are definitely looking up, and relationships and family, and things things that inspire you are really just bringing you lots of comfort. Maybe don't pay attention to the news too much in the middle of the month, because it's going to get so intense. It's going to be a bit quite stressful. But other than that, looks good. So Sagittarius. So it's interesting that you immediately, as Uranus now finally enters your relationship house, the seventh house for good at the end of the month. And it also, Mars ignites everything in your house of romance. Um, Fifth house is the house of romance and creative things. So something to do with romance, relationships, or creative projects are simultaneously, they bring many surprises, and it looks like you possibly have entered or will enter into a relationship where you kind of go, Whoa, this is a bit more than I was expecting, or it's different than I thought. And you too have to surrender to setting limits. It's the changes are coming too fast and they are too surprising at first. But things will settle down. And as you can see, your advice card is that a new romantic cycle begins. So, um, so that Venus, um, symbolizing Uranus's entrance in your seventh house, I think it's a lovely symbolism. What a lovely symbolism here. Like there's something, I think people are going to, romantic relationship are really going to surprise you in a good way, ultimately, although maybe not at first. Okay, so exciting times, but time to set limits and also try not to watch the news too much because it's going to be a very busy, most likely very upsetting news month, especially between April 10th to the 20th. So, but otherwise looks good. Looks good. So Capricorn, so the so Mars is entering your fourth house of home and family, home and um, yeah, family could be parents, could be grandparents. So some kind of intensity around family is definitely the middle of the month or from the 10th of April on until the 20th. Something at home is quite could be quite intense. It could be even something to do with renovating, um, or having to move, maybe not wanting to move, but have to move, maybe temporarily or permanently. There's some sort of push that has to happen. But simultaneously, you do have lovely support from your relationships. Um, because Jupiter is in your seventh house of relationships. So there's some kind of family or support, but also this is customers. This could be customers. So it looks like let's say things are intense for some reason at home, but customer relationships are going really well. So the universe gives and it takes, takes and it gives. So it's not bad everywhere at once. It's good here and bad there. So it's a little bit intense this month. Try to stay calm. Things are going to settle down towards the end of May. Um, but it's interesting that the advice card is time to take action. Yeah, things are gonna things are kind of culminating in your home area. It's like if something needs to be fixed, you can't really put it off anymore. It has to get something has to get done now. And especially because Uranus is moving to your sixth house. So there's an element here that your daily routine, your work routine is being affected as well. Um, and make sure that it doesn't affect your health. Um, you know, make sure that you take time out and don't get too stressed out because it is a very stressful month. The beginning of the month, rest as much as possible because from April 10th until the 20th, it's going to be very stressful for everybody, but definitely for you and something to do with your home and surroundings. And looks like somebody in your home, um, something related to your home is um, you're trying to change their mind about something, you're trying to explain something, but it's just not working. Surrender the idea that you could fix someone. So people try to remember that people don't change. Um, and try to let go of that idea and try to figure out another way to solve this problem. But again, you do have tremendous support from Jupiter in your relationship house. So other people can, one way or another, if it's not your spouse, or family or customers, then it's some other, the seventh house is other people in general, or your relationship. So somebody is able to help you here. You will get help. So you can rely on that. Um, you can rely on and be open to receiving help, which is probably quite difficult for you because you are very independent. But this month it is very it's probably necessary to get some help um, for some home related situation. Okay, Aquarius. Well, you're still getting used to the Pluto the Pluto energy in your first house since November. Um, it it takes some time to get used to that Pluto energy, doesn't it? But because Pluto goes deep um, and there's no hiding from Pluto. However, um, this is the this is the time to it's interesting that you get surrender resentment a card because Mars um, arrives in your third house, igniting all these Aries planets um, from April 10th to the 20th is a very, very intense time. Try to stay calm. Try not to try not to be resentful. This is the most intense, one of the most intense months of the year. So you're gonna have to work extra hard to stay calm and not react. Um, and you have Jupiter in your sixth house of work and daily routines, bringing you kind of lean on those daily routines and enjoy the small moments and small, you know, sunny days and walks in nature. Try to enjoy those things and little wins at work. Um, Try to enjoy those rather than um, this irritation that Mars brings um, to your mind, because the third house is the house of your mind, your local community, local travel. Also, it does the third house does rule transportation, so not a month to um, you know to drive too fast or definitely be cautious um, in terms of any kind of transportation because it can be um, it there's a possibility of some sort of accident prone regarding transportation, but not necessarily. I feel like this is more have to do with mental irritation as Mars goes through your third house of the mind. And what can you do about it is you can bring love into the situation is the advice card here. So yes, so definitely, um, I think that Jupiter in the sixth house of daily routines, daily work, I think that's where you find, just lean on that. Try not to um, follow the news this month because it's going to get quite upsetting in the middle of the month. And it, it's we're all going to be everybody's going to be very stressed out in the middle of the month. So try not to try to stay calm. And then you have Uranus entering your fifth house, which is your creative projects for the next 7 years. So, and it's also the house of romance, things, just in general, things that bring us joy. So it looks like you're going to find a whole new source of joy in the world. Things that you never thought before, probably things that you didn't think that would bring you joy are going to bring you joy, and that you know, things that you used to bring you joy probably don't anymore. So there's some sort of revolutionary element in your house of joy, the fifth house, that Uranus is going to be processing with you the next 7 years. So then Pisces, so as you can see, your second house is Mars will arrive in your second house of finances on April 9th or 10th. And it's going to, while things start out quite lovely, we have a lovely Libra full moon April 1st or 2nd, depending on location. Then in the middle of the month, has something to do with your money situation is going to get intense. Maybe some sort of expenses, unexpected expenses. Mars, when it arrives in his own house and with all those planets there, it's going to ignite them. So possibly some sort of unexpected expenses, unfortunately. Um, and then Uranus is entering your home house for the next 7 years. So this might have to do with some sort of new arrangements at home, but ultimately it's going to be a good thing. And it's interesting that you get the card of let go of surrender, the habit of people pleasing. So the second house is also our self-worth, our idea of self-worth. So it looks like there's some sort of culmination of maybe you have always giving in on this in certain areas of your life, especially have to do with money. Maybe you didn't charge enough, or you paid too much for something. Something here comes into um, culmination where you're going to have to say no, um, and just try to keep things, um, just to try to keep things calm just for the sake of calm, but they're not calm. They have to be dealt with. Mars in your money house is definitely going to say, you have to deal with this. There's no other choice. And it's interesting that your advice card is look at the bigger picture. And so that's definitely the best kind of card. Like things look a bit upsetting this month, quite upsetting in the middle of the month, especially from April 10th to the 20th. But ultimately, this is all for your own good, because you're going to have to say no to something to do with money and also some sort of rearrangement at home, but also then your creative projects. You have Jupiter in your house of creativity and joy until the end of June. So Jupiter there is giving you lovely support simultaneously. So and it trines your ascendant, your sign. So Jupiter, you're getting so much support from Jupiter that rules your sign. So just try to stay calm in the middle of the month. And we're all gonna have to um, uh, everybody's going to experience something. In the news cycle, we're going to see very upsetting or big changes, and in our personal lives as well. And in your case, something has to do with money and self-worth. But ultimately, these are good changes, as you can see. So you can check out my website, lunardakini.com, to book an interactive Zoom reading. It's a unique mixture of astrology and tarot, just like I've done in this video. And you can, I also do year ahead readings, and just email me at lunardakini@gmail.com to book a reading or request any kind of customized reading. And if you can like, subscribe, and comment, that would be lovely and would help me a lot. Thank you so much for watching. And so this month, let's all try to stay calm and remember this too shall pass.